The Avatar, written by Michael Topper. In order to understand what an avatar is, it's first necessary to understand the much discussed matter of correlation between densities and stages of spiritual development. For a definition of densities, see MT Dictionary. This volume suffices here to say that density, in metaphysical terms, doesn't correspond to conventional definitions of inertia, viscosity, opacity, etc. Indeed, density in the metaphysical sense correlates positively to the degree of perceptual or cognitive subtlety. It refers to the quotient of formal limitation integrated through coordinates of the variable cognitive grid network, determining the available intensity of total energy information coded for a given volume. See also channeling UFOs, etc., subheading I am your density. Third density, quote-unquote, the one you're presently experiencing, tends to tell us things are fixed and solid. Fourth density allows us to perceive such solidity as an energetic kind of fluid kaleidoscopic coagulation. Fifth density allows us to behold all things, whether apparently solid or not, as coordinative fields of geometrized light networks. Sixth tends toward direct knowledge of such light composites as self-luminous ideas, etc., and therefore as themselves idea-form patterns of the permissive cognitive grid network. Each such density level carries as its chief importance a reigning quotient of allowable insight or intuition with respect to reality as a whole. This quotient correlates with the compositional quality cited above. The stages of spiritual development are given in the context of third density embodiment, each successive stage above third, ordinary mind, corresponding to its numerically parallel density. This means that authentic initiation to the higher stages in third density context succeeds at each step in realigning the focused mind-body coordinates of the subject so as to allow into the formally screened third density framework the class of insight intuition indicative of the numerically parallel density. Depending on the type of class or school of initiation, these coordinative realignments may relink the respective densities in such a way as to permit direct perception interaction, as with subtle faculties, as an example psi, and or direct insight knowledge participating in the available essence of the open density. This correlation between stage and density holds until we get to the question of a seventh stage of initiatic awakening and the corresponding seventh density. While there are authentic masters of a seventh stage awakening, these are extremely rare, far more so than the schools and traditions perennially claim, and may properly be considered avatars. Moreover, these seventh stage initiates do not correspond in themselves to the seventh density, and this is where the otherwise perfect correlation of stages and densities breaks down. The reason for this is that seventh density does not properly incarnate as a personality expression or divine representative from its own level, since seventh density isn't so much a successive step in the octaval hierarchy, and thus higher and removed, as it is the immanence of logoic divinity within everything. A seventh stage being, a master of authentic seventh stage initiation appearing in third density context, is recruited by the totality of the seventh density Godhead from the ranks of personality expressions thoroughly integrated with and as oversouled consciousness of sixth density. In terms of initiatory Kabbalism, all doers are recruited from the sphere of prima mobile or the sephira of Chokmah. The zodiacal symbolization of this sphere may thus be thoroughly understood with reference to Southern Crown Dictionary subheading Breath Soul. Seventh density is properly beyond either I or we, and so incarnates a sublime function of its overall process on behalf of the whole by recruiting from the nearest adjacent density, that does supply the necessary I's and we's for individuated incarnation. One may ask, if seventh density represents in some sense the totality of Godhead, why doesn't it just manufacture the necessary I-ness out of itself to incarnate amongst the multitudes? The answer is, of course, that it does precisely that. That's what sixth density oversoul consciousness and its ancillary personality expressions is. Properly understood, this description supplies adequate resolution to the perennial contention between those who look upon Keter, crown of macroprosopos, seventh density, etc., as the necessary origin of avataric expressions incarnating below, and those who insist that once merging with Keter, seventh density, such one goes forth no more again. The seventh stage initiate, then, is a master, who's also inevitably an avatar, and is one recruited out of sixth density by seventh density Godhead totality to serve a specific universal function in and through the lower worlds on behalf of the whole. Such a sixth density projective expression from oversoul consciousness recruited as avatar for a time and place is therefore ever the minister of Hur-Akrat, the Lord of Silence who goes not out at all. It should be evident from all the foregoing that the adept may also be considered or function as a teacher, whereas a teacher in himself isn't an adept, that a master may also refer to himself or be referred to as an adept, but that an adept in and of himself is not a master. It should then be evident that an avatar is also and at the same time automatically a master, while a master in himself is not automatically an avatar. This, then, is the first piece of verboten information brought to you courtesy of Matrix 4, Michael Topper and Val Valerian's publication. For the knowledge of the truth regarding teachers, adepts, masters, and avatars is far more subversive than spilled information regarding secret government pacts with space aliens. The long-time furtive use of alternative energies by the phantom power structure, or even the existence of such power structure itself. Indeed, we may here submit that unexpected tolerance for the continued existence of such publicly indispensable media as the earlier Matrix volumes and Leading Edge, etc., might well be attributable to the inevitable shift in attention toward that power structure, which the freeing of our information has caused. Once the chagrin of exposure is past, it's perfectly plausible that the power structure smugly dotes on the attention after all. How intolerable that its hijinks in pulling the wool over your eyes has gone on for so long without receipt of proper credit from the victimized consciousness in question. Far better it may now be to have attention turned no matter how ruefully to the shadow government perpetrators, which exacerbated attention regardless how angered still constitutes inadvertent tribute, than to have it roused to awareness of the real truth of your existence. For the primary reality is that of the spiritual truth, the spiritual facts and the spiritual purpose of your existence here altogether. It doesn't lie basically in the regrettable fact of governmental duplicity, some pending takeover by the Antichrist and his kin, or in knowledge of invisible air pollution by armadas of beings from elsewhere. No, the truly dangerous knowledge is presented in this book, and as we've argued, uniquely in this book. Your previous Matrix volume should be kept and consulted as treasures, as significant mountains of non-ordinary information extracted at great difficulty on your behalf. They should be considered essential supplementation, allowing you to become powerfully knowledgeable about the real paradigm surrounding the circumstance of the true planetary teaching. In this book, you'll find the true planetary teaching. You'll find it embedded in very many contents, and contents contained herein, and God willing, as she's wont to be, you'll find it in this, our Magnum Organum, which features among many other things an introductory preview of MT's greatest magic trick. Every authentic spiritual teaching worth its salt has to have a shapeshifter in the sideshow. At last word, there was even to be inclusion of self-evidently third stage originated materials, as W's magnanimous overview bow to democratic sponsorship of all densities and heart-minded coefficients. These materials furnish the reader with a multitude of interesting contents as well, much food for thought of varying digestible degrees. And if such third-stage stuff evidences the mistaking of a sphere passing through its own flat plane for a circle, so that narrow associations, reductive syntheses, and solutions of low titer are sometimes apparent in the results, the net is never less than entertaining, since W's presentations are at the same time uniquely adventurous, never dull for non-dull readers, the West's equivalent to the non-dual Vedas, and always stand as champions of the public's right to free choice amongst the range of relevant options. With an occasional landmine and puzzle book text exception, then, to amuse and keep you on your toes, this volume is the collaboration of teachers, adepts, and masters, irritatingly real to one and all, and fulfilling of an avataric function, i.e. a function born to living embodiment on your behalf, of, by, and for the spirit of the very mind-body vehicle you bear, in perfect empathetic attunement with its real requirements, owing to the state of commonality shared with and for the sake of every sentient being. ATN. So that's how he writes. And it is wonderful and wild and dense and full of really great information. I mean, I am educated on the Kabbalistic tree of life, and so his discussion of densities as it relates to Keter and Chokmah and all the way down certainly makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm here for it, and I appreciate you being here for it too. This is one heck of a windy rabbit hole, let me tell you. Thanks for hanging. Stay tuned for the next one.